Hello,
Good.
I'm Leslie,
I'm Stephanie.
and we are the Hand Readers Guild. And we are here today to talk to you about truth and fiction in your palms. So, when I was first learning to read palms, I had a really difficult time because I was trying to learn from all kinds of books. And it was really difficult because most of them didn't have pictures of hands in them, and the illustrations, you'd look at a hand and your hands look nothing like it. So, what I learned is that it's really difficult to learn this stuff from a book.
It is. Yes, I agree.
And when I finally met my teacher, one of the things I heard him say was it's impossible to learn to read hands from a book, that you have to do it by actually looking at hands. So both Stephanie and I were tasked with, once we finished our original trainings, to go out, and the first thing we had to do was read 100 hands before we could come back with any questions. Do you remember reading your first 100 hands?
Vaguely. Yes, I do. A lot of friends, a lot of family.
Right. Yeah. Anybody who will volunteer.
Yep.
Before you could start charging, you had to read 100 hands.
Mm-hmm. And the guy at the grocery store. Anybody who will sign a piece of paper.
Right. Exactly. So, we're here to try and show you some things, and we use handprints because, again, we're on video and we can't let you see our real hands, but we try. So we're going to talk to you today about some of the things that you might see in books or on websites that, and we're going to tell you whether they really are true or not, because there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. And some of it, now that we're all on Facebook and other social media sites, they show up as memes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit more about what we're doing here. We do these videos live pretty much mostly every Sunday morning Pacific time. We skip a few, we're here and there.
Yeah.
We don't edit them. You get to see us in our real selves. And we're not, we don't get fancy. I don't cut things out. We make a mistake, it's there. So
our dogs bark, our kids come in, everybody, anything that happens.
Right, exactly. Part of why we do it on the weekend is to avoid the neighbors' lawnmowers and the other stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we hope you'll take us as we are and find these valuable. And if you do, you can follow us on our YouTube channel, which is called Hand Readers Guild. You can also join our Facebook group, the Hand Readers Guild Forum. We have these videos there as well as a lot of diagrams and posts with some really good teaching and some food for thought about hands and how reading hands affects our lives.
Open discussions.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You can discuss with us. You can ask us questions. We're always checking in to answer them. And we do have a Facebook page that you can like, and the links to those are going to be underneath the video when we're done. So let's get to work, shall we? All right. Truth or fiction in the hands. So the one I started with is the Lifeline. Now, when I was first reading hands and I would sit down with people, they would always put their hands out to me and said, "Don't tell me when I'm going to die." Have you had that happen?
Every time. A lot, yes. Not every time, but a lot, yes.
Right. Everybody seems to think that the length of your lifeline
mm-hmm.
is going to indicate the length of your life. So in basic hand reading wisdom, you can mark time on the Lifeline. That is true. You can mark time. And so you can look at the Lifeline to see significant events and when they might have happened. And the consensus about what the timing is about the halfway point between the start of the Lifeline and your wrist is approximately 40 years old.
Ish.
Yeah. I mean, it changes because human length of life changes.
And depending on
Probably-
the person. Yeah.
Right. Probably in medieval times, halfway point was what, 18?
Right. Right. 20,
Right.
16.
Yes, because people didn't live that long.
Right. Right.
So now we're living into our 80s mostly. So
Some
you want
90s and
some
100s.
90s,
Yeah.
right?
We're
Yep.
getting closer to a lot of people living up to 100 now.
Right. So halfway point may be moved up to 50 soon. But right now we're still thinking it's somewhere in the 40s.
Right.
So now if you look here, this happens to be my left hand. And here is the length of my lifeline. So I kind of really enjoy the fact that I call it the world's shortest lifeline. And I am the hand reader, because as soon as people say to me, oh no, I'm worried you're going to tell me how long I'm going to live, I can show them in my own hand that this is fiction. That your length of your lifeline does not indicate the length of your life. This, my lifeline, if we were to measure time on my lifeline, I would say that this one ends around age, 37, 36, 37.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. And I had some big changes in my life right around that time. If you're an astrologer, I had my Pluto square Pluto, which really threw my life upside down. So yeah, I could say that it shows me something about what happened to me when I was 36, 37, but I didn't die. I didn't die. I'm actually decades older than that now. Just so you know, I've made it several decades past the length of my lifeline, and
Yes.
I'm still going strong. But it is kind of funny because the year before Katrina wiped out New Orleans, I went down there for a visit. It was for Thanksgiving week. And being a hand reader, I decided, well, hey, I'm in New Orleans. I have to get my palm read by one of the locals.
Absolutely.
So there's a big square with all these readers sitting out with their tables. And I just kind of randomly picked somebody and sat down to have my hand read. And I sat down and she takes my hand and she's looking more at my face than my hand. So I'm thinking, okay, she's waiting for me to react to know whether what she says is right or not. So I decided I'm going to do poker face, and I can do a pretty good poker face. So she looks at my lifeline and her eyes got the size of saucers. They were like, woo! She saw this lifeline and she looks at my face and she goes, oh, you're going to live a very long time. And I went, okay, this is total BS. So basically I didn't listen to another thing she said after that. Because
right. Because, yeah.
I could tell she was looking at my lifeline and going, uh-oh. And actually,
now what?
Yes. And actually I was older than 36 or 37 at the time I had that reading too. So anyway, so just so you don't get scared when someone wants to look at your hand, do not worry that someone will tell you when you're going to die. Your lifeline has nothing to do with that. So here's what's going on really with my lifeline. My lifeline is actually completed by another line. So you can see and I actually have 3 lines here. This is something called the quest, or another name for it is 3 for 2. 3 lines where you would have 2. So a lifeline and a fate line is what you would normally have. And instead I have 3 lines broken up that way. So when that shows up in a hand, it means that your life force and your work are so passionately intertwined. And I'd say that's true for me.
Mm-hmm. I would say so too.
Yeah. I mean, this work that I do with hands, I can't imagine not doing it.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I learned that this existed, I had one of those moments where my whole body just went into the shivers.
Yeah.
And I have been doing this 29 years and I can't imagine not doing it. And I'm finding new ways to do it. So now this is not the only reason why a lifeline might be short. There are other things that could be happening on. This is just one possibility for what a short lifeline might be. We don't have the time to tell you all of them, but just wanted to share this one example since it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
So
another good example of the quest is like Jacques Cousteau, who always lives on his boat and goes to travel everywhere to find an adventure.
Right.
And that is his life and his work. So, or it was.
Right.
But
it was.
Yes. So that's another example. Just
right. Someone who can't separate everything they do from this purpose.
I wonder if Jane Goodall has that as well.
That would be interesting.
Wouldn't
it? Could be. Yeah.
I'd like to see her hands.
Me too. Me too. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the Mystic Cross. Now, this I have seen everywhere in memes all over social media.
You have one.
Yeah, a lot of people have them. So this is not all that rare to see that. So what is the Mystic Cross? It's an X that is found between the head and the heart lines. And there it is. You can see it in blue there. So I was in an astrology group on Facebook, and somebody posted the meme about the Mystic Cross. And I think most of the people in there were only astrologers. There weren't any other hand readers besides me. And all of a sudden, every single person in the group starts posting, I have it, I have it, I have it, I have it. And because somebody posted how rare it is. Well, but everybody in the group seemed to have it. This is not rare, and it is not a sign that you are super mystical, that you have this incredible intuition, that you are tuned into spirits, that you are never going to read. I mean, if you start looking online the meanings of the Mystic Cross, you'll start going, wow, this person is about to ascend.
Right.
They're never going to reincarnate.
Right. So last incarnate on Earth.
Right. So actually what's happening here, the vertical line that's making this X is part of the fate line. And not everyone has a good fate line, but most people in Western culture have a some semblance of a fate line. The fate line is your work line, your purpose over time. And because we have a work-centered culture, we pretty much all have some version of a fate line. And so if you have that, and then you have any kind of horizontal line in your hand that crosses it, you're going to have this X. And it does not make you mystical. I mean, especially since that Saturn line, the vertical there, is about as earthy and practical a line. It's the opposite of mystical.
It's very practical, centered on the now, here.
Right.
The
practical.
All business. Yeah.
Right. Now, in this particular hand, the line that's forming the horizontal part of the cross is what we call a board of directors line. It's a line that connects the head and the heart so that this person is making decisions with both.
Yeah.
How would you describe the board of directors?
The board of directors is basically just that. The headline and the heart line have to talk together. Your brain and your heart have to talk together in order to make any kind of decision. And sometimes they can go rounds and rounds and rounds, and you can never make a decision. Or sometimes it's unanimous across the board.
Right.
So,
what do I think? What do I feel? What do I think? What do I feel?
Right.
But I think this, but I feel that. Yes.
I have one of those. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
That one I do have for sure.
Right.
So, yes.
All right. So where do we really find intuition in the hands?
Under the Mercury.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Right. So this is one of the places. There's a couple of markers, but this is one of the more common ways you'd see it. This is called the Crescent of Intuition, or the Moon Crescent. It basically connects Mercury with the pinky finger, which is your communication finger, with your inner workings, which is down in the mound of the moon, that heel of your hand. That's where into the inner workings, the inner communications live. And the curvier it is, the more intuitive it is. The straighter it is, the more it is just about kind of like logically connecting to your inner and outer thought processes. So when it's this curvy, it's definitely considered a mark of giftedness in that realm.
Yep.
Now there are other ways you can identify intuition in the hands, but we just wanted to show you one. All right.
I could say so many things about just that one side of her hand.
Yeah. That is a pretty beautiful and large crescent, though.
It is. It is very large. I did have, I have to tell this one story because I did have, I was doing readings for a large group and people were coming in left and right and just kind of sitting down. And I had one lady come in and sit down. And the first thing I saw with this was this gorgeous crescent of the moon. And I was telling her about it's a line of intuition and her eyes were just like, what? And so I was like, okay, I'll just move on because she seems a little shocked about this information. But it was showing, it was just like bright and like the sun, it was shining. And so I moved to talk about another part of her hand and I went back to look at it and it was gone. It had just disappeared out of my sight. I was like, wait a minute. I know it was right here and I know it was on this hand. So she did not want to be, I just outed her intuitiveness.
Oh, wow. Now I've seen hands change, but never quite right in front of my eyes.
Right in front of my eyes. It was crazy. I have never seen it before. And it's a story that will stay forever with me, but she did not want to be an intuit at all.
Wow. That's crazy. All right. Moving on. Money in the hands. We just did an episode on money in the hands. So if this is something that interests you, check it out on our YouTube channel. So the big thing that goes around that people say all the time is if you have the letter M in your hands, that you are destined to have money. So we went into a much longer explanation of this in the other video on money, which is really worth taking a look at. It was a good one.
Yes.
But here we have the letter M. Now, this M is made up of the lifeline, the headline, the fate line, and the heart line, which are the 4 basic lines everyone has in their hands. Mm-hmm. All the other ones are optional. Actually, the fate line's semi-optional.
Right.
But everybody's got a lifeline, headline, and a heart line, unless you have a simian crease, which is another episode.
Another video, yes.
But in general, the majority of people on Earth have these 4 lines. And so it's not uncommon to have an M. But something that we pointed out in the other video is that the word for money in any other language besides English does not start with M. So what does that mean? That you can only have money if you come from an English speaking country? I think that's kind of in and of itself like just
absurd.
Yeah. It basically tells you how not true that this is. So where would we really look in the hands to see if someone has the gift of creating wealth? Right there.
Right in the...
Under the middle finger.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
There we go. There it goes. Okay. Now I see it. Yes. Okay.
You had a little blip in I saw it. So I think your internet was being a little slow there.
Or something happened.
Yeah. All right. So this is the star of Saturn. It's also called the Midas touch, and it's a gift marking. Do you want to talk about that, Stephanie?
Well, this is a gorgeous gift marking right here. This is huge.
Usually they're tiny. Mm-hmm. This is if you look in your own hand, it's not likely you're going to see one as huge as this one.
Correct. Yeah. So this is a star is usually made up of 3 lines that make 6 points. And sometimes it's a burst of energy. And this particular one is a gift mark with about money, responsibility, and security. And this person
results.
They get results. This person can get results.
Right. So yes, this is a huge one.
It's huge.
It's very possible to have small ones, and it would still be the mark of giftedness. And usually we do have to look a little harder to uncover them.
Yeah.
But since we're trying to show this on the screen, I figured using the big obvious one was a no-brainer. So yeah, that is a gorgeous one.
It is beautiful.
Right.
It'd probably be the only thing I talked about at that one, and then I have to go look for other things.
Yeah, that would definitely catch my eye if I were doing this person's hands.
Yep, totally.
All right, so we're going to talk about one more thing you might hear about that you can see in your hands, and that is how many children you're going to have. There are lots of hand readers who will try to tell you that they can tell you how many,
Do what you did again, because it's still on the star of Saturn for me.
Oh,
I don't think it's mine.
No, I didn't change it yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There it is.
Like, wait, it didn't go.
So how many children will you have? So there are these vertical lines, short vertical lines that show up kind of at the edge of your hand under your pinky, that for a long, long, long time, people have said, oh yes, this is going to be how many children you have. Well, I have a lot of these, and I don't have any children.
This was my first palmistry reading. The lady I sat down with her, and she started to tell me about this, oh, your life you won't be rich, and you won't be poor, you'll be happy. Like, whatever, lady, that's America. Come on. And then she did the children, and you're going to have 4 children. And I'm like, oh, I know birth control, and I'm pretty sure I'm only going to have 2. So it just kind of blew me out of the water of like, no, sorry, that palmistry is not what I was looking for. It was when I was looking for finding how to read hands. So, so kind of you'd been reading hands for a while after going to that. I mean, before going to the palmist, and this was just for me to even figure out what I want to do. So, no.
Yeah, actually, I had somebody tell me when I was in my 20s that I was going to have 4 children. I don't even have 4 dogs. Because I consider
that would be so much.
I know. I had 3 for a while, but I consider my furry 4-leggeds to be my children because I don't have any actual children.
Okay,
and
well, if we consider that,
menopause.
if we consider that, then I have 2 dogs and 2 kids. So I have 4. She was right. Dang it.
I think way back then we weren't thinking about our pets as children.
No.
But not the way we do now.
No.
But it's okay. So we do not see these lines as children's lines. And I actually don't think that you can tell how many children you're going to have from your hands. Neither one of us actually uses the hands to predict. And I honestly have a little bit of an ethical issue around that. Especially with where I started, where I talked about how people think the Lifeline is going to tell when you're going to die.
Right. And no way am I ever telling anybody when they're dying.
No, it's not ethical. And because you can create self-fulfilling prophecies.
Right.
And what you're doing is you're taking somebody's power away when you do that. And the whole reason that both you and I do this is to empower people, to give them information about themselves so they can become a better version of themselves, so they can have information to make good decisions about what they want to do with their lives.
And to be aware that they have choices and what kind of choices they may or may not use or take. So they have the ability to see all encompassing.
Right. So what do we say about these lines? I call these lines the healer, heal thyself lines. Okay, so these lines are under the pinky, again, Mercury. And we talked earlier about Mercury being that realm of communication. But if you know anything about Mercury's mythology, he is also the god who carries the caduceus, which is the symbol of the American Medical Association. And I bet that other places use the caduceus as a symbol for medicine and healing. So Mercury's realm is about communication. It is also about healing. And when we talk about healer, heal thyself, we are talking about opportunities for growth. That's what these are.
Yep.
Opportunities for growth lines.
Mm-hmm.
So they show your own crises, life crises, or life challenges that you face. And as you learn from them and overcome them and make choices within yourself to grow from them, you get one of these lines. It's like a hash mark, right? You know, remember when you would put hash marks on the blackboard?
Yes. Done. I did that task.
Right. You put the little hash mark on the blackboard, and then after 5 of them, you go. All right. So, you know,
hopefully you don't get those in there.
No, we don't see the little cross of them in the hands.
Yeah.
But you can have one of these, 2 of these, 3 of these.
27.
Now, when you start to get 7 or more, which this hand has 7 or 8, then this is considered a gift marking called the medical stigmata. The medical stigmata is not a mark that shows you're going to become a doctor. The medical stigmata is the mark of the gifted healer. And it is, boy, it's a big deal mark to have. You have one, right?
I do. I have one on each hand.
I have one too.
Yep.
So it's a big deal, and it comes with a lot of responsibility.
Sorry.
And it comes with continued healer, heal thyself lessons.
Well, my good lesson right now is my daughter interrupting me so I can sign something for her.
Right this second?
Right now. I'm like, I'm live. That's why I'm like sitting here going.
See, we told you. We just
yes,
keep all this
it is
stuff
so
in.
live. Yes, this actually was one thing that stuck out when my second hand reading was with Leslie, and she actually told me about this. And that was, what did you say? You said you can't heal your partner.
Yes.
And I was oh, what? I can't believe she said that to me. And
right.
20 years later, I'm like, yeah, can't do it.
It took you 20 years.
Yeah, okay, I'm slow. I am actually stubborn and determined. And that's the words my mother used about me. So from childhood, I have been stubborn and determined. And I try to see things through to the very end, even if it's a complete failure.
Yeah. Okay. You got to take a look at your thumb again.
Right. Yeah.
So this person whose hand I'm using as an example, I actually do know them, and they are my age, which means postmenopausal. And I do know they also do not have any children or stepchildren or grandchildren. I have no idea if she has pets. Oh. But if she did, I doubt she would have 7. So again, these lines, we can think about your little healing crises as, you know, your children that yes, you have to raise, or you can think about your children as giving you healer crises.
Like I just had.
Right.
Example A.
But, you know, you're actually also not supposed to heal your children.
That is true.
Right.
I'm
so
learning that as well.
Essentially, if you try to use this healing ability, basically what this is it gives you special insight that you gain from kind of working on your own life crises.
Right.
That you can then share to help other people.
Share your wisdom.
But the taboo is not to help people who are in your personal sphere, because it messes up the relationships. What you're supposed to do is use this as a paid gift. Money.
Yep.
Get money for it.
Get some money for it.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Hand reading.
Right. Hand reading.
You know, astrology.
Right. And or
massage therapy.
Life coaching.
Life coaching. Yep. Healer kind of things.
Right.
Doctors.
Psychotherapist.
Have you ever gone to your doctor and looked to see if they have a medical stigmata?
No.
Yes. Oh, look at everybody.
An MD.
Yes.
They let you look?
My OBGYN, she had many of them.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
And she had small hands.
Well, also people who are working in nonprofits trying to make positive change can have these. So it isn't just about physical or emotional healing. It can be world.
It's a change maker.
Right.
Being a change maker.
Right.
In a good way.
Exactly. So yeah. So I think that's, this is a big deal, Mark.
Yeah. This one's a big one.
It's a big one. It comes with a lot of kind of rules on how to use it properly, or it bites you in the butt.
Right. The biggest rule is to remember to fill your cup so you can help others.
Yes.
So you can fill theirs.
Right. And not try to fix your friends and loved ones.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't matter, even if you know.
Oh, that's the hardest thing. When you know and you can't say anything, and you're just like, I'm waiting for you to figure it out. Just waiting. I'm just sitting here.
Nope.
I can't even give you hints because it's not going to help.
It's going to mess things up.
Yep.
It's going to mess things up. You're just a facilitator.
Yeah.
For change. You are a facilitator.
A mediator.
Yes. Yes. You are the facilitator. So with that said, I think that's the last one we're going to cover today. So let's just say that we will be back again with some more interesting stuff to share with you soon. You can leave comments for us underneath if you have questions. If there's a topic you would love to see us cover, you can leave us some comments and we'll consider that, because we're always looking for interesting things to talk about with the hands. Don't forget about our Facebook group, the Hand Readers Guild Forum, and our page and our YouTube channel. And if you subscribe to that, you'll get a notice when we're going to be doing these live again. And you can either watch it live or come back and watch it again later. And again, we check in and we'll answer questions. So we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you learned something.
If you have any questions about any kind of hand, anything, like you think it's a myth or you think it's true, let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there might be some we haven't heard of even.
Right. This was just a touch of it.
Yep. There's lots of it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.